Across more than 4,700 miles and 65 years, old friends from two small villages, one in Kansas and one in France, reunite.
Hello. Hello. My name is Gérard Torlotac. Since my last visit, I did not learn English.
What had happened in the 1947-48, this Velma Carson, and particularly the preacher at the Methodist Church, decided they needed to get involved in the world. And they started looking for some place so they could do something. Let's do something. They heard about a thing called Operation Democracy, which was one community in the United States adopting a community in Europe.
Within a year of when we first moved here in 1982, we were told by residents with some enthusiasm that we had a sister city in France. So even though that would have been a long time after the pageant, there was a warm and cheerful feeling in the community about that relationship.
My folks loaded me in the car and we took off. I didn't know where we were going. We ended up in Morganville, Kansas, and there were lots of people around. There were what I learned to call the stadium with something going on in it. And I think I can remember sitting on the rock ledge up there watching. And later on I learned it was called the pageant. It was the story that Morganville had written to tell the community of Fèves in France the history of the community of Morganville.
Well, I was a high school girl, and well, I was a senior in high school, really. And I don't remember all that much about it, but it was a whole group of people that got together. This lady had written it, and I was a Chinese girl. It was just a lot of fun, and we practiced, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times. We didn't have much time to do it in.
They did this whole thing. They started out figuring they'd use 30 people. They used 150, and they put it all together in 15 days. Costumes and all. So that's quite an accomplishment. If you've ever tried to work on a school play or anything and do it in this time frame. They raised $1,000. And they tell me today that would be $10,000. It was a free will donation. And after the end of the pageant, with the tearjerker at the end of it, one of the ladies said we'd had more money, but we couldn't empty the cream cans fast enough. I think, because I think I remember being pretty well shocked, I think my father stuck a $5 bill in that can. And that would have been big money in 1948. You know, most of that was coming in dimes, nickels, quarters, 50 cents, and $1 bills.
With Morganville's help, Fèves was able to recover, but the language barrier, distance, and recovery of Fèves made it difficult for the towns to stay connected, and eventually they lost touch. In 2013, 3 Kansas State University students rediscovered the connection while doing research on Morganville for Professor Gloria Freeland's news and feature writing class. Freeland and her husband, Art Vaughn, became interested in the Morganville-Fèves connection. Later in 2013, Vaughn sent an email, hoping it would reach someone who remembered the connection. That email helped bring the sister cities back together. Henriette Toileton, pictured on the left, had an important role in distributing the gifts from Morganville in 1949. His wife, Mathilde, is on the right, and their nephew, Gérard, is in the middle. He was only 7 at the time. Gérard Toileton, now in his 70s, received Vaughn's email and became a key player in the reconnection. Freeland, Vaughn, and their daughters visited Fèves in 2014. During their trip, they learned that Gérard Tolleton, Mayor René Girard to his right, and the other two deputies pictured wanted the villages to reconnect. In 2015, Freeland and Vaughn returned to Fèves. They attended meetings where the people of Fèves organized a visit to Morganville. On September 10, 2015, 20 residents made the trip to Kansas to finally reconnect.
Cette relation entre Morganville et Fèves.
Because of history and things, it is something that shouldn't be forgotten. So it's really important that such things should be remembered.
When Girard and the rest of the visitors arrived, they stopped at Kansas State to see the World War II memorial. Birgit Vosmuth, director of K-State's journalism school, and Provost April Mason welcomed them to campus. On their way to Morganville, they stopped in a Kansas milo field. They even rode a tractor and a combine. Before their lunch in Morganville, they stepped into the amphitheater where the 1948 play was staged. After some pictures, they headed across the street to the Morganville Cafe, where they were greeted by familiar music. They exchanged gifts and became acquainted.
Well, I was very delighted to see that they were so happy to be here. They were just so genuine and so sincere and happy to actually be here and to see the place where this had happened. And it was really exciting since some of them had actually benefited, actually been recipients of the aid that was sent to them.
First, thank you. He's very honored to be here today. And he's thinking of his grandfather, who was the mayor.
Serait content de me savoir ici.
Would be very happy to see him here.